Welcome to the Busy Bee Chronicles. If you're new here, I'm Chelsea, and my channel is all about sharing the things that I enjoy, so hopefully it will bring you a little joy too. And if you have been here before, you know that one of those things is Disney, which is why this experience I'm about to share with you was such an awesome one for me. I went on my very first tour at the Walt Disney Animation Studios in Burbank, California. I've been to Warner Brothers Studios and I visited the Walt Disney Family Museum, both of which I will link down below so that you can check out those videos. But this one was a little bit harder to get reservations for. D23 members have the chance to book tours during certain times of the year. It's not an ongoing tour situation. And this time it just worked out that I was able to go on one. Now this video is going to be very different than my other vlogs because no video recording was allowed during my tour. However, I was allowed to take a ton of pictures, so I'm going to share those with you as well as tell you a little bit about them as we go. A couple tips if you get a chance to take the tour is that 1, when you arrive, you cannot enter the lot until about 15 minutes before your tour time. I found this out because I'm usually really early for stuff like this. I want to be on time, I don't want to be late, but when I first arrived, I was about 35 minutes early, and the guard had told me that I had to come back closer to 15 minutes before. Basically, they don't have a designated area for you to be without the guide there as your supervisor, so you have to wait until that arrival time to walk onto the property. Because it's a working lot, you need an escort through it, so it's not set up with a lobby or anything where you can wait freely before starting if you're familiar with like how the Warner Brothers tours work. And tip 2, when I Googled the directions to get there and I just put in the name Walt Disney Animation Studios, I didn't put in the address, it did initially take me to the wrong entrance and they directed me to a different one. So if you are a guest coming for a tour, make sure that you enter the 500 South Buena Vista Street entrance. And keep in mind, everything I share with you, this could change if you go to take a tour, but this is the information based off of my personal experience at the time that I visited. Now, once you arrive, you'll meet your tour guide, and they give everybody a chance to use some nearby restrooms if needed, so don't worry about that with planning coming in so close to your tour time. You'll get a chance to do that if you need to. And at this point was also when I spoke with my guide to verify exactly what they allowed as far as pictures and video, and I was told no video recording at any time, including outside, pictures only, and they would specify when and where pictures were or were not allowed. Now you begin your tour right outside the cast member store, which we will get to see the inside of later on. But one of the first big things that you pass is the Sherman Brothers stage. Of course, the Sherman Brothers were famous for creating so many of the songs that we know and love, like from Mary Poppins, and you'll also recognize this area as the same space that was used in some of the filming from Saving Mr. Banks. This spot is Pluto's Corner, and it directs you down Mickey Avenue or Dopey Drive. And this is just a fun little landmark at the studios. Our tour guide pointed out that if you look closely at the concrete next to the fire hydrant, you'll see 3 little paw prints imprinted into it as a little joke. So we know Pluto was there. Honestly, the grounds of the property are gorgeous, and all I could think was, wow, this would be a really cool place to work. There is also a theater here, which unfortunately I don't remember if it had a specific name. There was so much information throughout the tour, and without being able to record it, I just couldn't remember everything. I took notes the best that I could, but I do remember her mentioning that this was where a lot of movies premiered, and that there were often some very famous people making their way through this section, and some big events happen here as well. So not only did they do filming of movie premieres, but they actually premiere movies here. Next, we entered the Art of Animation building, and in here she explained so much of the process and all the steps that go into creating an animated film from start to finish. There are so many elements and different skills that it requires. I thought it was very cool how as you walk down the hall, it was like you were walking through the process. The concept art for things was interesting, comparing the artwork that was used versus some that was discarded. And the pieces of the background work and how they place characters on top of that in separate pieces, it was just all really interesting and so much to take in. At the end of the hall, there was even an image of Zootopia 2, as it's the next animated film coming to theaters, at least at the time of my recording. And I'm really excited for that one, because I liked the first Zootopia too. We then made our way upstairs to the next floor, where we got to see the posters of different films that Walt Disney himself worked on. It was so cool to see what marketing looked like in some of the earlier films and how poster style has really changed since then. Not only were they, advertisement, but they were actually drawn or painted rather than photographs of what is considered, live action. So even for what is considered live action movies, they still had painted or drawn different types of artwork that was created for that production. This was a diorama that was our tour guide's personal favorite in this space, and I can't remember all the facts about it, but I did love that it was showing all the stages of making an animated film in the form of a diorama, and it was using Disney characters to tell the story. So it was like they were working in the animation studio's office. So that was really cute and a very cool addition to our tour. Next, we visited a hallway that featured all sorts of pictures of Walt Disney's life. And something interesting was that I recognized a lot of them from my visit to the Walt Disney Family Museum in San Francisco. But here they were printed so much larger, so it was really cool to get kind of a closer look and a view of them a little bit bigger than how I had seen them before in the museum. Now, as a book lover, I really appreciated this section, which was dedicated to Disney books. Some of them were books made by the Disney company, that came out over the years, but others were also prop books that were used in production. Now, one of the biggest highlights of this tour is getting to go inside Walt Disney's offices in Suite 3H. In the first room here, we had to leave all of our extra things that we had with us, so like our bags, if we had a water, anything like that, you couldn't bring those into the next part of the tour. Your phone or your camera was okay. She didn't mind that we had those in our hand as long as we kept it close to us and we didn't drop anything past the designated spaces. The secretary's office was an important space because it served as the barrier between Disney and distractions. Apparently, it was very rare for anyone to get to see him unless they had an appointment and were on the list. So his secretaries were very important at keeping him on schedule and keeping only people that were there for appointments coming in and out. Several of Walt's awards were also on display here, and I love that our tour guide shared a little knowledge about some of the awards, and these were called Mouskers and Ducksters. So these were awards created by Disney to honor individuals for their great contribution to the company. So it was sort of an inside honorary title, and of course it's a play on words. So instead of Oscars, they gave out Ducksters and Mouskers. There's a little surprise about this later on, and I'll show you. Next, we went into Walt's formal office. Our tour guide explained to us that after his death, they paid such great care to preserving it as he left it, that the inventory of every single item and its exact location was documented. Dave Smith found the Walt Disney Archives, which fortunately allowed for it to be recreated years later after a lot of remodeling, so that we can see it today as it would have been exactly as Walt left it. Now, when you go inside this space, there's a very narrow walkway that you can walk through throughout his office, and it's designated by some like carpet protectors, so that's where you have to stay in the middle. But there's so many little knickknacks and things to look at. I was so glad that she really let us take our time because there's so many small things to see, and it was nice to kind of get to take a picture because you can't get close to certain things. You could always like zoom in on them and kind of check it out. The little mechanical bird in the cage was even there, which was known to be his inspiration for the amazing animatronics that he would eventually develop. This piano in the office was also where artists like the Sherman Brothers would come in and they would play him different songs they were working on to get his feedback. And a fun fact is that he also was known to request them to come play Feed the Birds, which was his favorite song, right here in the office. Now, past this room was his working office, and this office was a little smaller and a bit more cozy. It had a couch and pictures of his family. There was also a little kitchen attached with a bar counter, and they even displayed some of his favorite foods in the cabinets, which I thought was cute. And this space was where he spent a lot of his time collaborating with artists, writers, directors, and other people involved in his productions. So this whole space was such a really great part of the tour because it put you in a position to feel like you were back in time during these days at the studio when they were really working on all of this stuff in the early years of the animation studios. Now also, if you really love these sorts of things like I do, consider giving this video a like and subscribing to my channel. Showing your appreciation this way really does help small creators like myself grow and improve my ability to share more content like this in the future. So at this point in the tour, we exited Walt's offices into his private room and gallery space, which basically it used to have a bed and a bathroom, and this was his own kind of private room to rest and relax, but now it's full of displays of photos so that we on the tour can enjoy checking those out. And at this point, our tour guide also offered us some bottled water, and we collected our things that we left in the cubbies, and we headed out to the famous Disney Legends Plaza. Now this courtyard honors all of the Disney legends. It's sort of like the Walk of Fame made specifically for the Disney legends. And if you're not familiar, the Disney Legend Awards honor artists and those people who have contributed to the company over many years. Our tour guide also gave us some time to linger here and was so knowledgeable about where to find different artists' plaques that if we wanted to find a specific person, we can go ask and she would help us find it. They also provided a pamphlet that showed you where each person was, which was a pretty cool souvenir and also made it more efficient to find specific people while you're there. I tried to get a picture of all of them, so hopefully I didn't miss any, but I will show you as many as I can here so that you can hopefully see the artist that you're looking for. The next building we went into was a little bit more modern, but it was really busy, so I didn't take too many photos as we actually walked in. There were people working and hanging out at the cafe, and they were actually there working, not on our tour. So I stuck to pictures of the displays that we were being shown, and I didn't want to take pictures that included those people in them. But it was a really nice space, for the record. A great place to be and get some work done. It was really nice. So we went into the actual archive room next, and there was a ton of stuff in there. Our guide explained that they actually changed the displays, so the items in here, they rotate. Currently, they had a Yeti in there, and so that was a really fun little photo op to have. We also got to hold an actual Oscar, which, by the way, is really heavy. I've held one at the Warner Brothers tour, and every time I pick one up, I'm amazed at their weight and that people have to like accept an award while holding this. I think it's just crazy. Outside the archive room, there were some more displays and also an area dedicated to the multi-plane camera. So they had one of these displayed, I remember, at Disneyland for a while, but you could get pretty close to this one, a little bit closer than you could behind the glass at Disneyland. So that was really cool. There were also some pictures along the wall of the artists using it, so it was just a really nice display to have for animation studios to get a look and understanding of how that camera would have worked. So we went outside again, and it was getting near the end of our tour, but we saw some more beautiful views of the property. Right outside the Frank G. Wells building, this bench here was actually used in the filming of the movie Titanic, and they just decided to repurpose it and put it here. So that was just kind of a funny fun fact. We also got to pass some working recording studios and even saw one that was operating as we walked by. So you'll see the red light goes on outside the studio, so people know not to disrupt what is going on inside. They know immediately when they're recording, when they're not. And finally, we were to the end of our tour, which of course ended where we began, right in front of the gift shop. Now this is the actual cast member store, so there are things in here that you can only purchase when you're on the Disney Studios property. I recognized a lot of the merchandise from in the parks, but also from this past year at D23, the last year that we did it, where they brought some of this merchandise out. But it was pretty cool to look at and to look around and just kind of get a chance to shop in there if you want, because they have different stuff. And how often do you get to do that? Now I bought this pin. I thought this was really cute. I like Tinkerbell, and the water tower really stands out as like a landmark when you're on property. And you even get the little card here that says Walt Disney Company store. So I thought that was kind of fun. And then at the end of the tour, our tour guide gave us these pins, which was very cool. We got to leave with our very own Mousker and Duckster. So that was a really fun surprise, and something that was really a significant souvenir because it was so specific to the tour and something that we learned and to the studios. So I thought that made it really special. And of course, a huge shout out to our amazing tour guide. She was so kind, informative, and really passionate about her job. I loved it. So thank you very much for the great experience. It was a lot of fun. Alright, I know this video was not the usual since there were only pictures involved, but I hope you enjoyed it and it inspired you to learn a little bit about the Walt Disney Company's history, or even take a tour of your own if you ever get the chance. There was definitely so much more information shared on our tour than I could ever pass along, so don't miss the opportunity if it comes up for you, because it was just really cool, lots of neat stuff to learn. I really appreciate you watching, and until next time, thanks for buzzing by.